Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds. A bird that does get a whole lot of attention uh, these days is the northern mockingbird. Got a lot of questions. People have problems with them, and I did a mockingbird video called Menacing Mockingbirds a while back, but that video is old, it's grainy, the sound is not good. So I figured I would reshoot and give you a little more expanded on the issues people have with them and how to solve them. So, first, I thought I would tell you a little bit about the mockingbird and what they're all about. I call them the bird with a lot more bark than bite, and the three main problems that issues that people tend to have with them, and then of course some solutions for you to use to hopefully deal with them and manage that problem. So, the northern mockingbird is a member of the mimic thrush family. That means they're related to the gray catbird, which you may have in your yard. The body shape is very similar. The mimic thrushes means they imitate other bird songs and sounds, and they're incredible songsters. And of course, the brown thrasher is also a member of that group, the whole thrasher family. So that is the group of birds they're in. And they are primarily birds of the South. They're the state bird of many of the southern states: Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas. So they are very much southern in nature, although they have been expanding northward for the last many years. And with that, a southern bird in northern climes is very vulnerable to bad weather stretches. And right now we're having a lot of bad weather through a lot of the northern part of the country. And these are the years that mockingbirds do perish in stretches like this. They eat mainly fruit in the winter, and they need, of course, unfrozen water. So sometimes they will take up residence in your yard, especially if you have a source of unfrozen water and you have a source of berries. They also love peanut butter and cornmeal, things like that. So that's the first area of problem that tends to arise, especially this time of year in the winter, is that the mockingbirds, who are aggressive in the sense of their, I guess they chase off birds and they show those flashy white wing patches like here, and they'll, for a bird feeder person, that they don't like the bird dominating their bird feeders. They want everybody to be able to come in and eat. And this is what we're having a lot of problems right now. And that is a mockingbird taking up residence, claiming the bird bath for him or his own, or the feeder station for his own, trying to chase everybody away. And it is really problematic. The other times that the type of problem people have with them is during the nesting season. They can be aggressive. If you walk close to their nest, they're going to fly near you. And then the other problem that most people have is that they sing all night, especially during areas that are well lit or a full moon. They sing all day, and then on those really lit areas at night, they'll sing all night. And for people who count on their sleep and they sleep out, they're singing outside their window, that can be problematic. So we got the feeder domination, the aggressiveness during nesting season, and the singing all night are the three main problems that most people have, or many people have with the mockingbird. So, what are some of the things that you can do? Well, I have always found, when it comes to the feeder station problem. And in the past, when I've had mockingbirds come in and try to take over a feeder, and it's so funny because they're not hurting the other birds; they're just intimidating. These big white wing flashes you see there, and they fly at birds and they flutter their wings and they scare them off. Well, I like the can't beat them, join them method of trying to discourage them. Remember, you cannot hurt this bird; it is absolutely federally protected, and you cannot do anything to hurt it, but you can harass it. But if you can find another food source to put out there for them that they like better than your seed feeders, then that work has worked for me in the past. And that is a mixture of like peanut butter and cornmeal and dried mealworms. And they love raisins. I mix that in there with them, and I smear that into a feeder. In the past, I've used a big pine cone and hung that up a little bit further away from my other feeders, and the mockingbirds immediately, because they love that peanut butter mixture so much. Remember, it needs to be a crumbly nature and stuffed in there. And they took over that, and they left the other feeders alone. Carolina wrens love that mixture as well. But as long as you can lure those mockingbirds off, I have people who have hand trained mockingbirds to eat raisins. and they actually soak raisins in water and maybe cut them in half, and they'll put them out on their deck railing, and the mockingbird comes and eats those raisins because they eat mainly fruit in the winter. So that's another source, and it just depends on. I know dogs, it's not good for raisins. That dog, you shouldn't put them out where dogs can get to them and things like that. But if you have a method of feeding, you can actually lure them away with raisins. Yeah, if they find that, they may be very, very happy with that. So, but the other thing you can do is harass them. Had a friend of mine, a customer who said had a mockingbird take up residence, and every time she went by her refrigerator, she'd hit the ice maker and get a couple ice cubes, open the door, and throw them at him. And she wouldn't hit him, she wouldn't try to hurt him, but she would just harass him and that make him go away. And that is something you certainly can do. Now, when it comes to the nesting season, they're going to primarily be more aggressive. Not during the nest building process, but when the babies hatch or when they're getting close to hatching. Then, if that nest is located near a walkway or where you go regularly above your car or things like that, that's when they can get aggressive and they'll fly at you. And blue jays do this as well. So some birds will, not a lot, but they're not. They may make contact with you, which is what you don't want. So if you can park in a different area, you can take a different route to your car if that's where the problem is. But just remember, it only lasts for about 2 weeks. When most songbirds, like mockingbirds, lay their eggs, it's about 2 weeks in the nest, and then once they hatch, it's about 2 weeks for them to fledge, and then they guys feeding a baby mockingbird on the ground. But the real problem area is usually right before they hatch and after they hatch is when they're most aggressive in defending that nest area from would-be predators. And then you are a would-be predator. Now, even though you would never harm them, they don't know that. So you can they definitely just alter your pathway. Don't go near the nest you just know it's only going to last for a week or two at the most, and it should be okay after that. So for the birds singing at night, I had this problem. I had a lady who was an author, and she wrote most of her work at like 4 to 5 to 6 in the morning when it was her best writing time. So she was going to bed, and the mockingbirds was singing and singing and singing, and then I've had other people, those mockingbirds start singing at night on moonlit nights and things like that. And my recommendation for that is, again, you can't harm them, but you can harass them. And if there's a favorite bush in their yard that they're singing from, or that's where they're going to be at sunset, right at sunset, keep near your water hose. And when he comes to land into that bush to kind of settle in for the night, spray him with water, harass him, get him away from that, and make him fly somewhere else. And hopefully he'll set up in a different singing location if you do harass him. But again, you can't hurt him. But those are just some ideas that you can maybe help deal with the menacing mockingbirds. And that is, of course, an alternate food source for the feeder station problem, altering your path for just a week or so, maybe 2 during the nesting season, if that's where the nest is. And of course, at singing from a bush outside your window, just harass him at sunset with a water hose so that he doesn't settle in there and sing all night and keep you awake. So they're great birds, absolute incredible songsters, and a favorite for a lot of people, but they can be problematic in certain situations. So hopefully this will help you deal with them, and so we can coexist with nature. So thanks for the idea for a program. Give us a like, give us a share, send in more ideas for programs. And until next time, let's talk birds.